This story belongs to ancient times. In a certain village, a blacksmith and his son lived. One day, the son said to his father, Abba, make a knife for me whose blade is extremely sharp. The father replied, Son, a knife is not always a good thing. First tell me, what do you want to do with a knife? The son gave a vague answer. Nothing much, Abba. I just need a knife. At last, after the son insisted a lot, the father made him an iron knife. When the weapon came into his son's hands, he became like a lion. He started threatening and frightening his father, saying, Abba, go immediately to the prince's palace and ask for the princess's hand for me. If you don't, I will strike you with this knife and separate your head from your body. The poor blacksmith began trembling after hearing this. The boy's eyes were filled with rage. The blacksmith cursed the moment he had made the knife for his son. Now he began thinking, what should I do? On one side is a well, on the other a pit. If I go to ask the king for the marriage proposal, he will kill me. And if I don't go, my own son will kill me. After thinking deeply, he decided, instead of dying here, it's better to die there. Let me go to the king. Even if I get killed, at least people will know that the blacksmith had come to ask the king for a marriage proposal. Dying with honor at the king's hands is better than dying unknown at the hands of my own son. One day, the blacksmith gathered courage and went to the king. He asked for the princess's hand for his son. Hearing this, fire rose in the king's body. He thought, being a lowly blacksmith, he dares to ask for my daughter's hand? He wished to immediately order the executioner to behead him. But the minister, who was wiser, whispered in the king's ear, Maharaj, if you have him killed, it will create unnecessary mockery. People will exaggerate the matter. How many mouths will we shut? Wisdom says that we should avoid this situation cleverly. Let the snake die, but the stick not break. Let us ask him such a question that he will never be able to answer in his entire life. If he can die just by eating jaggery, why give him poison? Then the minister addressed the blacksmith and said, O blacksmith, we agree to marry the princess to your son, but on one condition. Your son must do something that no one has ever done before and no one has ever seen before. Hearing this condition, the blacksmith returned home, thanking God for saving his life. He told everything to his son. Both father and son decided to leave the village and set out on a journey to fulfill the condition. While traveling, they reached a dense forest. There, they saw a man sitting under a shiris tree. All around him, yellow shiris flowers were scattered. The man had placed his leg inside a stove and flames were coming out from his foot. On the stove was a pan full of boiling oil and he was frying pakoras and eating them. The blacksmith and his son were shocked to see this strange sight. They said to each other, the king must have never seen nor heard of such a thing. Come, let us learn this. The blacksmith asked the man, O servant of Allah, please take my son as your apprentice and teach him how to fry pakoras like this. The man replied, Brother, go ahead. My teacher is sitting further ahead. If he accepts your son as an apprentice, he will. I am not allowed to take apprentices. Hearing this, the two continued forward. After walking a distance, they found another man sitting under the shade of a banyan tree. Around the tree lay its fruits. He too had placed his leg inside a stove, and flames were shooting out of his heel. On the stove was a pan of boiling oil, and he was frying jalebis and eating them. The blacksmith and his son said, This is even more difficult than the last task. The king could never have seen or heard of such a thing. Let us learn this. The blacksmith said, O servant of Allah, take my son as your apprentice and teach him to fry jalebis this way?" The man said, "Brother, go further ahead. My master is sitting there. If he accepts him, he will. I am not permitted to take apprentices." Father and son moved ahead again. After walking further, they reached another place. There they saw a man sitting under a bare tree. Sweet berries were scattered all around. He too had placed his leg in a stove, and flames were springing out. On the stove was a pan filled with sugarcane juice, and he was making an eating jaggery. The father and son said, "This is even more difficult than the previous ones. Surely the king has neither seen nor heard of such a thing. Let us learn this." The blacksmith said, "O noble servant of Allah, please take my son as your apprentice and teach him how to make jaggery this way." The man replied, "Fine, I will take your son as my apprentice and keep him with me. Here, take these keys. There is a room in front of you. Open it, put your son inside, and lock the door from outside." The blacksmith followed his instructions. When he locked his son inside and was leaving, the man took the keys back and said, "Now come after 1 year." The blacksmith returned home. Meanwhile, the boy sat inside the room, hungry and thirsty, waiting for someone to help. But a whole day passed and no one came. When the boy looked around, he was horrified. Human bones were scattered everywhere. He thought, "God knows how many people died in this death room before me. My fate will be no different. My father and I were fooled by that man. Now I too will die here, and one day my bones will lie scattered like these."
Tears filled his eyes, and he cried bitterly. After his heart became lighter, he quietly sat in a corner. His heart said, "As long as there is breath, there is hope." He picked up a large bone from the floor, which had a sharp, knife-like edge. He began digging the wall with it. The mud kept falling. After days and nights of labor, he created a big hole, large enough to crawl through. He went into the next room. It was beautifully decorated with expensive curtains and carpets. Behind a mesh curtain, he sensed the breathing of a very beautiful figure. When he moved the curtain aside, he was stunned. There on the bed lay a beautiful fair girl fast asleep. Her youthful body moved gently with her breaths. Her long black hair lay scattered over her body. The boy stood staring at her. A moment later, the girl woke up. First, she was frightened to see a stranger in her room, and the boy also got scared. After a while, when they both calmed down, the girl said, "It's okay. Come here. Sit down and tell me who you are and how you came here." The boy gathered courage and told her the whole story. The girl first gave him food and then said, "The man outside, the one making jaggery, is my father. I too am a sorceress. Don't worry, I will teach you magic. If my father is at the 14th level, I am at the 16th. She began teaching him magic and gave him delicious food and fine clothes. A whole year passed, but the blacksmith did not return. He thought, "I will not take my son back until he becomes a master sorcerer." The boy kept learning magic from the sorceress and eventually became an expert. After 2 years, the blacksmith came. He saw that the sorcerer was still sitting under the bird tree, making and eating jaggery exactly the same way. The father asked, "O man of Allah, where is my son? I left him with you 2 years ago." The man said, "I have been sitting here for 2 years, making jaggery. I neither had time nor did I check. You locked your son yourself. Here, take the keys and see for yourself." The blacksmith turned pale. His color kept changing.
After 2 years, I will only find my son's bones, nothing more, he thought, cursing the sorcerer in his heart. He ran toward the room and opened the lock. When the girl inside heard the keys turning, she whispered to the boy, "If it's my father, he will kill us both, but if it's your father, we will survive." The blacksmith entered the room. It was empty. He crawled through the hole into the second room and saw the beautiful girl and his son sitting together. Seeing his son alive, the blacksmith cried with relief and hugged him tightly. The boy introduced the girl and explained everything. The blacksmith trembled after learning the truth and thanked the girl for saving his son. The sorceress Seerah said, "There is only one way for both of you to escape alive. Go outside, cry and wail in front of my father, and tell him, 'My son died of hunger and thirst because you never came to check on him. Please at least allow me to wrap his bones in cloth so I may bury them.'" The blacksmith went outside, crying loudly. As the girl instructed, he repeated the same words. The sorcerer said,